So 2 nights ago, a very interesting story from a very interesting place broke, and of course it has to do with everyone's favorite gaming topic nowadays, the Nintendo Switch 2, and we have Bloomberg making some serious reports and claims about the size of the screen for the Nintendo Switch 2 and some potential reveal and release timing. It's a big deal, everyone's talking about it, and of course, I want to throw my own 2 cents into the ring. So for the most part, I think that we all knew that this was kind of inevitable. If 2024 was going to become the year that we would see and hopefully play a Nintendo Switch 2, at some point, probably early in the year, we would start to get some more believable reports and rumors. Maybe not some of the 4chan stuff and the Reddit boards and the people on Twitter who claim to be leaking things when they usually end up not actually leaking things. This is the kind of more substantial side of the reporting and rumor mill arena of gaming. Because again, this is coming from Bloomberg, and we don't know if we're going to get a Nintendo Direct next month. We, of course, think that we will, and if we are going to, maybe this is even giving us a hint that part of that Direct could have something to do with new hardware. And even if it doesn't, we still might get confirmation from Nintendo on new hardware sometime after that. And so, you know, again, it's just a report. It is coming from one of the most reputable places you could expect a report like this to come from, but it is still not fact. Always have to add those disclaimers. But it's very exciting. And people are very torn on this whole issue around the screen for the Nintendo Switch 2. I have very specific opinions around it that I think will differ from most people, but I'm excited to talk about all of this stuff today. Of course, don't forget that I am hoping to cross 25,000 subscribers sometime in the coming months. I have been having some pretty strong growth over the past few months as well, so I really do appreciate that, and welcome to new subscribers. Of course, if this is your first video on the channel, then I hope you subscribe, or if you've been watching for a while and not been subscribed, then I hope this video convinces you to do so. Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks. The nature of this Bloomberg report really is focused on the screen for the Switch 2. And there are two main features that they've talked about, and everyone has covered this. Again, I'm about a day and a half late to this. This is just when I had time to kind of get online and make this video. The main details that they're discussing is that apparently, per this report only, they're claiming that the size of the screen will be 8 inches, which will be the biggest of any of the Nintendo Switch screens currently. And it's not going to be an OLED, which is disappointing to many people, and I do understand that. It is, again, reportedly going to be an LCD screen as opposed to an OLED. So we've got a really big screen at 8 inches, which is certainly exciting for portable players, and a screen that is not as advanced as the OLED. So it seems like they're taking a step up in terms of the size of the screen, but maybe taking a step back in terms of the technology by reducing it from an OLED back to an LCD screen. So like I said, this is easily the most hotly contested and debated and polarizing aspect of this whole thing. It's also really the biggest focal point of this general report, right? Not a lot of discussion around power from what I've seen, and it does talk a little bit about timing, which we'll get into, but really the meat and bones of this report seems to be surrounding the screen and the size and the fact that it's apparently an LCD screen and not an OLED screen. So, like I said, I certainly have very specific opinions myself around this, as most people do. As far as the size of the screen, I mean, you can't deny that an 8-inch screen is great. I think the Switch OLED screen is 7 inches, and I'm pretty sure that the Steam Deck screen is 7 inches as well. I don't know. There's a lot more devices out there nowadays that do the hybrid thing, what the Switch does, and the Steam Deck, and there's a ROG Ally, and there's like Alienware ones, and there's probably other ones I'm just not aware of. And I don't know if there's anything else that's as big as 8 inches or even bigger, so I can't say for sure. But we know that we're dealing with the screen that bare minimum, if it is 8 inches, would be bigger than the Switch OLED and the Steam Deck. So while the bigger screen size is obviously a great win for everybody who likes to play portably, obviously the even more contested scenario here is the fact that apparently it might be an LCD screen as opposed to an OLED screen. Now, I have a couple of points to make on this from my own gaming experience and my own gaming perspective. I have never seen the Switch OLED, the Steam Deck OLED. I've seen a regular Steam Deck, but not a Steam Deck OLED. So I actually can't speak personally to how significant and worthwhile of a difference an OLED screen in your hand is compared to the LCD screen that I've seen on my current Switch or the Steam Deck that I saw at a party once that somebody who I had just met had a Steam Deck. And I was like, dude, let me see it. I want to hold it and check it out and kind of navigate it. And it was certainly very, very cool and slick, I got to admit. But like I said, I have no hands-on, or should I say eyes-on, experience with a portable OLED screen. So what I'll say to this is there's no doubt in my mind that the OLED screen, I'm sure, is better. It's a better quality screen just by the nature of its technology. So OLED is better than LCD, we know that. And so I'm sure if you can play your portable gaming system, whatever it is, a Switch or a Steam Deck or anything else, and it's using an OLED screen as opposed to the current LCD screens, it's going to be better. I fully believe that. Maybe it's even worlds apart better. Like, so much so that some people would spend more money, like with the Switch OLED, for example, to have the OLED screen as opposed to an LCD screen. And now, this has people very, very upset for the most part. There are some folks like me who've shared the sentiment that they're not really concerned with that. I tweeted about it, and a lot of people said that they want the OLED, but there are a few people who said that, yeah, just like you, Rob, I don't care if it's LCD or not, I just want it to be good for whatever reason. But by and large, people don't like this because, admittedly, even though I don't care about it, and I'm going to get more into why I don't care about it in a minute as well, but even though I personally don't care about it, there is a case to be made for the fact that Nintendo might be, if this is true, making a conscious effort to take a step backwards in technology with one of the key components of their next hardware. So we, of course, all hope that the internal components of the Switch 2 is going to be much better than the Switch. It's going to be more powerful and have a better GPU and CPU and all these other RAMs and things that I'm not smart enough to talk about, and weird chipsets and all these things. In theory, it's going to be more powerful under the hood. That's great. But why would you also reduce the quality of your screen? You've already made an OLED screen. It's the best available screen technology on the market for a portable console. Why would you choose to upgrade the tech under the hood, but then make the screen a step backwards and go back a generation? And I think that is a worthwhile conversation to have, and I think that it is disappointing simply because it's a strange choice. Now, the obvious reason they might be doing this is to save cost. And there's a chance that they're saving cost on the screen so that they could invest more money into the power and technology under the hood and output better graphics and larger worlds and better enemy AI and all these different things that more power affords you. And that's another reason why I would be okay with it if that's true. But at the end of the day, just looking at the end result, if this is an LCD screen and not an OLED, it is a step backwards for one element of the Switch's hardware. And yes, it is disappointing, and I understand why people who love their portable gaming might be even more disappointed. Now, as far as my opinion on all this, I'm going to be real. The reason why I don't care about any of this stuff around the screen is obvious, especially if you know me, and it's because I don't play my games portably. I never play my Switch portably. I don't anticipate playing my Switch 2 portably if it is, in fact, another hybrid device with a screen, which we all believe, and this report is leading us to believe. I'm not going to play it portably. I mean, the rare occasional trip I take, sure, I'll take it with me and play it, but I don't need, for the 1% of time I might play the Switch 2, it's not all that important for me to have an OLED screen. Again, I'm not saying I wouldn't prefer it. You know, all things being equal, if Nintendo said, Rob, you choose which screen do we use, I would say make it the OLED. Most people are going to prefer the OLED, and again, for that 1% of time I might play it portably, sure, I guess I prefer the OLED over the LCD screen. However, as a TV only player for all of my consoles and obviously my Switch, I literally never play it portably. I don't really care. And so what I'm not doing is saying because I don't care, you shouldn't care. I'm not saying that everyone needs to feel the way I do. But I think it's worth noting that there are people like me out there who don't really play portably. And so the quality of the screen doesn't matter as much. I mean, as long as it can, output 1080 visuals, which I think it's definitely going to be able to do 1080 in terms of resolution, that's great. That's a step up from the current Switch's screens because I believe both the regular and the OLED, I think, are only 720. So if they bump it up to 1080, that's great. Just make it bright and vibrant even without the OLED technology. And I think that they can still make a quality experience. Once we're playing the games on the Switch 2 in our hands, I don't think, and this is just a guess, but I don't think it's going to really matter once we all have the thing, even if it's sad that there isn't an OLED screen. Now, apparently, there are also hints from this article that perhaps the reveal timing could be coming up very soon. Now, I haven't been able to read the article because they require a paid subscription to read Bloomberg, which is so ridiculous and so outdated, man. No one with any real self-worth is going to pay a news outlet to be able to read their articles. You're already going to have advertising and crap all over it. That's where you're going to make your money. No other website does that, or very few do. I think maybe Wall Street Journal does. It's, to me, it's just silly. And it's like, look, I can afford it, but I don't care. I'm not going to pay them to read their article. I've heard other people discuss it, and I've seen other recaps. That's fine for me. Now, I'll link it below in case you want to go ahead and pay and read it yourself. But again, I think enough people have been able to break it down. And so what I understand is that there's even potentially hints that the reveal could be coming in the next month or two, maybe February, March, maybe as late as April, which I'm kind of thinking March or April might make the most sense. I don't know that I anticipate it coming next month, but I would love to be wrong and see it next month, Nintendo, so please do it. But, there are now starting to become discussions that in the next month or two, we might actually see it be revealed, and that, of course, it would then be a holiday release or a back half of 2024 release. To me, I think that could mean it could release as early as September. And I mean, I think I speak for pretty much everyone when I say if this was true and if this was what was going to happen, we'd all be excited, man. It would be nice to play the Switch 2 before summer, or at least during the summer. Imagine if they released it like in June or July or something. And I think that that's possible. Let's pretend or play out a scenario where next month in February, they reveal the Switch 2 and some games, like a Metroid Prime 4, for example, and they could say, here in February, we're revealing the console and giving you the goods, and over the next 4 months until June, we're going to give you hype and trailers and updates and details and presentations, and it's going to release in June. If you think about it, that is not an impossible scenario for Nintendo to do. There was only 6 months from reveal to release for the Switch, if you guys remember. Yes, we had the code name of the Nintendo NX for a while, but I don't really think that the code name factors into necessarily what's happening with the Switch 2. I don't know that I expect a code name to come out. I know that there's been like growing conversations about the lack of code name, and that we're meant to anticipate a code name reveal first and then add 6 months to a year on top of the code name reveal before we would then see the official system reveal. And I gotta be honest, I just don't think we live in that era anymore. Not to mention, even if we did, there's no obligation from Nintendo to do it that way. Nintendo or any company is under no obligation to do things the same way they've traditionally done things. We can use historical data and scenarios to inform what we think might happen, absolutely. And so yeah, maybe the codename thing happens, but I don't really expect it. This doesn't feel like a codename scenario. I think the majority of us, myself included, think we're just going to get the Switch 2 revealed one day. Maybe it's February, maybe it's March. They're going to reveal it. They're going to give us a release date, and we're going to have 3, 4, 6 months to prepare and see trailers and presentations and learn more and fight through hell and back to try to get our damn pre-orders in, which I am so not looking forward to. And I think that that's what we're going to do. I expect it, and I feel confident saying most of you guys probably expect that as well. So anyway, I'm getting off track here and getting sidetracked by the whole codename thing and whatever. So I just want to bring it back and say that whatever these reports are saying, with the screen and with the reveal and whatnot, it's all exciting because, we're moving from Reddit boards and 4chan posts and stupid fake Twitter accounts to some real gaming and entertainment media and some real news media. Like, Bloomberg is a reputable outlet. Whether you like or dislike the mainstream media for all these different reasons that we all fight about nowadays, when we're just talking about entertainment and technology, I feel like a Bloomberg report is as good as it gets until it's officially confirmed. And so, sure, I'll say it again, it's not real yet. We don't know it's an 8-inch screen. We don't know that it's LCD. We don't know that it's going to be revealed in the next month or two. But it sure feels pretty accurate to me, man. I feel like Nintendo is in a great position if they're going to release the Switch in August, September, October, November, whatever they want to do. I think they should release it off cycle with the holiday for sure, so they can get an initial launch push and launch sales, and then restock for holiday. And it gives people a much better chance of being able to get the Switch in the first year. But whenever they do officially reveal it, if it's in the later half of the year, they're in a great position to use the bulk of the first half of the year for promotion and marketing and getting information out about what the system can do, why it's different, why it's more powerful, if the controllers or the Joy-Cons are different, if there's a different new gimmick we're not anticipating. They get to hype up and reveal trailers for games that are going to be launching and do all the things they need to do. They can have, like I said, a 4 to 6 month marketing cycle and push for this console if they were to reveal it as soon as February or March. And so I don't know that I'm like putting all my money on that happening, but it feels real. It sounds real. It is also what I want, so I'm trying not to use my own confirmation bias when I do this. But look, we got this Bloomberg report, man. I think that, man, an 8-inch screen? here's the thing. I haven't played a Switch OLED, but having said, I told you guys, I did hold a Steam Deck for like 5 minutes at a party, like, I don't know, last year, like 6-7 months ago or something. And I remember how big that screen was, and I was like, wow, this is like really impressive. And I certainly liked that. So even though I don't anticipate playing my Switch 2 handheld, maybe beyond the first couple of months when it's fresh and it's a little bit exciting to play it handheld, I will eventually move to TV only because it's what I do. We have 2 docks, so I can put it on 2 TVs in our house if we need to. But I will be honest, I am excited to see at least what it's like to have an 8-inch screen, but 1 inch bigger than that Steam Deck screen that I played many months ago. I'm curious. It'll be very cool. But I'll also go back to the fact that the LCD thing, I don't really care. I bet that they can make that thing pop without the OLED technology. And then there's a whole different conversation, and I'm going to wrap this up and maybe make this a different video. But there is a conversation to be had, and I've tweeted about this, that maybe they're going to do a Switch 2 LCD so that in 2 years they can do a Switch 2 OLED. And we know they're going to iterate because they always iterate. You know, there's also another conversation around if they were to, you know, I just made a video about if Nintendo would consider 2 SKUs of the Switch 2 at launch. We're not talking about iterating in years after launch. We're talking about day one. There's 2 different versions to purchase. Just like the Xbox Series X and S, just like the Wii U 8 and 32 gig. What if they were going to do a Switch 2 LCD and a Switch 2 OLED on day one? Man, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that. That just sounds like such a retail, pre-ordering, consumer money spending mess. That becomes so just ridiculous. I don't even want to think about that. But look, man, it is a realistic scenario if we think about it. You know, if there's truth to any of this with the LCD and the 8-inch screen. So anyway, here at the end of the video, I'm just kind of thinking now in real time and coming up with brand new ideas as I talk about this. So look, it's exciting. Stressful to think about trying to buy one of these things, but it is exciting. So this is the nature of the report. This is just my 2 cents. I'm not a portable player, so I don't care about the screen stuff. All I care about is how much more powerful it's going to be and what are the games. The power, the games. That, to me, is the hook of any console, and especially for Nintendo and this Switch 2. So give me Metroid Prime 4, give me the best graphics we've ever seen for a Nintendo platform. That's all I need. I do not personally care about the screen, but that's just me. I know a lot of you guys care about the screen, and you care about the quality, and you care about the portable gameplay experience of the Switch, which I totally respect, even though it's not for me. So this is all my 2 cents. Share your own 2 cents. Very interesting stuff, and subscribe again to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time on another video. Bye-bye.